Hey guys, it's Eric. Obviously, it's Friday. How do we know that? I'm in my red low VA rates t-shirt. I'd love to send you one. First step in getting your own red shirt. And by the way, I haven't explained lately why we wear red. Before I forget, down here in the bottom right corner of your screen, there's a red subscribe button. Just so happens to be red, has nothing to do with Friday. Please follow us on YouTube. We have a plethora of knowledge and videos and all this stuff that we're sharing out there. We'd love for you to invite your friends and family to tune in also. But why do we wear red on Friday? It stands for remember, that's the R, everyone, E, deployed, that's the D. And I always say this, it's not just those that are deployed, it's those that have been deployed in the past and are now safely home. It's unfortunately those that have passed away, for their military service. Anyone that has served and put their life on the line for this country, that's who we're remembering every single Friday when our office is like a sea of red. We love Fridays. We love our veterans. Thank you. Let's talk now about the video. Today we're going to talk about restrictions that exist when you're trying to purchase a multi-unit property. What's a multi-unit? Could be a duplex, could be a triplex, could be a four-plex. Now you might say, what about a 5 or 6-plex? 5 or 6-plex. Well, those are going to be some of the restrictions. I'm just going to give you a little future thing right now that we're going to talk about in the video. You cannot go over 4 units with a VA loan. But again, what are they? Restrictions. Nobody likes to be restricted. I know I don't. Restrictions for multiplex properties. Specifically today we're talking about with the VA. So one of the amazing benefits, and there are tons of them, but one of the amazing benefits that you get with a VA loan is that you might be able to purchase a multi-unit property, duplex, triplex, fourplex, as I suggested, without making a down payment and no mortgage insurance needed. Amazing, right? Now there are some restrictions that we're going to talk about today. Not every property, not every person's going to qualify. Hopefully you're going to learn some things in today's video, okay? So let's talk about some of these restrictions. Number one, the property typically, and I'm not even going to say typically, that just kind of came to me, but I don't know of a situation in my experience where there's any availability for you to get something bigger than a fourplex. Okay, number one, fourplex, largest. That's the largest you can go. That's the most units is probably a better word than largest. You can't have more than 4 units. So what does that leave us with? Duplex, triplex, fourplex. Anything larger than that, that's an investment property, commercial loan most likely. VA is not going to guarantee that loan. The only way you're going to be able to purchase a property with more units, it's going to get super tricky. I've never seen this. I've never done this, but I think you can go do a joint VA loan with another veteran and perhaps get more than 4 units. Don't come to low VA rates for that one. That's going to be pretty messy. I do, however, think technically you might be able to do that. We have people call us out from time to time on these videos. They have more experience than us. Yes, they're out there. I already know someone's going to call me on that because I have heard stories. We just don't do that here at low VA rates. So here's another restriction, okay? Number 2, occupy. Okay, occupy the property. I could probably really work on my writing skills here, but that's not why you guys are tuning in. You got to occupy the property. What's that mean? You've got to live in it. No, there's only one of you. Maybe there's your spouse. You're buying a fourplex. I'm not suggesting you have to live in all 4 units of the home. You have to occupy at least one of the units as your primary residence, okay? So similar to other VA loans that we've talked about, you're going to have to move into that property with the intent to live there within 60 days of purchase. Part of the reason for this is there's a rule, again, the VA will not guarantee investment properties. The VA program is not out there doing all the marvelous things it's doing so that each of you can go out and be the next, real estate tycoon in the area. Now, if that's your goal, you might be able to start by buying a property, living in it for a while, and then moving on. But if you don't legitimately plan to live in the home as your primary residence, you aren't going to be able to buy any home, and especially in this video, especially not a multiplex. So another restriction that might pop up, additional reserves, okay? And you might be confused here, what reserves? We're going to say cash, right? Cash reserves. One of the things that we know about VA loans is they do not require any down payment. They don't even require reserves. But in the situations of a multiplex, there could be a situation where you have to have reserves because many veterans don't have enough income on their own to buy a multiplex. They're generally higher priced. But if they count the potential rental income that they intend to receive once they're renting out the other units, that might help them qualify for the home. And in cases like that, where you're requiring the rental income that you plan on getting from the house to afford the payment, that's a little risky. So the VA is going to require you to have additional cash reserves. These cash reserves need to be able to cover 6 full months worth of mortgage payments, and that includes principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, what we refer to as PITI. You may need PITI reserves of 6 months. So for example, let's say your monthly mortgage payment's $2,000 on a big old triplex. You're going to need to have $12,000 in cash available in order to get the home if, again, this is the if the rental income is being used as income for you to be approved on the loan, okay? This isn't a down payment. This is just in case there's a situation where your renters aren't making payments or there's an economic downturn due to something like COVID and your rental income drops. This guarantees you've got at least 6 months to work something out if things don't turn around, okay? Now, like I said, you do not need to have these reserves if your income and your DTI and your residual income are enough on their own without the rental income to qualify you for the loan. Finding myself talking rapidly. I've not had no coffee this morning. I've had no Red Bulls. I just get passionate, guys. So if you got to take the YouTube video and slow it down, I apologize. I'm going to calm down a little bit. I love this topic, though. We get veterans all the time asking us here on YouTube, is it true that I can buy a multiplex with my VA mortgage? It is true. Now, reserves are only necessary, like I said, mark this down, if you need the rental income to qualify, okay? Now, another restriction. You might need to be a past landlord or at least show some experience of having handled rent, okay? We'll put landlord experience. I'll start writing these lists higher up next time, guys. I got a big old whiteboard here and I keep going towards the floor. The VA has an additional restriction that you must meet in order to use that potential rental income to qualify you for a home. In order to count it as income for your future, in order to get the home, the VA is going to require that we, the lender, verify you have the reasonable likelihood of success as a landlord. Now, here's what's so great about VA and what's so difficult with VA. They give us lenders leeway. They kind of have entrusted us and empowered us to make logical decisions on both your behalf and the VA's behalf. Okay, so reasonable expectation that you're going to succeed as a landlord. Well, how do we do that? Well, oftentimes that means we need to document something from your past that shows you're able to manage collecting rents. However, some lenders might just say, all you have to do is go out and show us that you can afford hiring a property management company. So even though you don't have past experience, you can go get a property manager. Most of them might charge, let's just say 8 to 10% of the rents that you're charging. And if you take 8 to 10% off of your rental income, because you're going to have to get a property manager, and it still works for DTI and everything else, then you would be okay, even though you yourself did not personally have any experience having collected rents in the past. Let's talk about the fifth potential restriction. I don't like to use the word restriction. It's just things you should know about before you go out and start trying to buy property. The multiplex, duplex, triplex, four-plex, it has to meet the VA's MPRs, okay? We've talked about MPRs. That's the minimum property requirements. And when you get your loan done, there's an appraisal involved, and that's going to check that the home that you're buying is safe, it's sound, it's sanitary, it's secure. A lot of times, multiplexes that are going to make a lot of cash flow and be great rental properties might not meet these requirements, but you've got to make sure they do. Now, multi-unit properties, that's what we're talking about today, are subject to some additional MPRs that we may not have talked about in our other videos. I want to just list those out quickly for you. Not going to get too detailed, but let's say you're buying a threeplex or a triplex. You have to have separate utilities or shutoffs for each additional unit. Some of our older duplexes out there are multiplexes. I happen to own one in the college town where I went to school and now don't live too far from. Let's say you've got a duplex and there's 1 meter on that property, and then you're dividing up the utility charges every single month between the upstairs unit and the downstairs unit. That's fine for conventional loans. It's a little bit extra headache for the property manager or for you if you're managing the property. That's a no-go with the VA. Now, you can always get these installed, and that can be part of the negotiation process when you're buying your property, but you have to have separate meters and shutoffs for each of the unit in the multiplex. Similar to the shutoffs and the meters, VA is going to require that there's easements or covenants, something protecting the shared water connections if there happen to be any. VA is also going to want approval of the maintenance agreement if you happen to have any shared utilities with separate shutoffs. Another thing you got to think about here on these multi-units that the VA is going to require for their minimum property requirements or standards on a multiplex, legal agreements that guarantee and protect repair access to the utilities, especially in cases where maybe somebody's required to walk through or access one of the other living spaces. This is common. It may seem like overkill. This is normal and it can happen. It's just better to know this stuff up front. Now, if the multi-unit that you're looking to buy doesn't meet all of the basic and additional MPRs that I just listed, you're likely going to be restricted from purchasing that particular property using a VA loan. So make sure you're looking at the correct properties or ones that are going to meet these minimum property requirements. Now, while there are additional requirements and restrictions that could impact your ability to purchase a multi-unit property using your VA loan, the benefits and the upsides greatly outweigh the potential restrictions. To learn more about using VA loans on multi-units, please feel free to check out the other videos on the topic, which are all over our YouTube channel, and they've been linked in the description box below. So thanks for watching today. I hope we got a lot of people out there saying this is going to be step one to me becoming the local real estate tycoon in my area. I'm going to go get a fourplex, no money down. I'm going to live there for as long as I need. And then, of course, that should then step you into your next investment or your next purchase. Thanks for watching. Wear red every Friday. We'll see you next week.